All right, Suesha, moving on from Prime Minister's address and what has happened in Bengal, let's soak in the spirit of freedom that we are enjoying. And we are enjoying this freedom, Suesha and friends, because our sentinels at the borders, defense forces, defense personnel and organizations like the Border Roads Organization are making sure that we are safe here in the mainland. Border Roads Organization, in fact, is one institution which is making it possible for our defense forces to reach the remotest of villages and the farthest of our borders, and to make sure that our enemies know that our soldiers are going to be there and fully supplied with the required armaments and ammunition round the clock 24/7. Let's look at what fantastic work the BRO has been doing across our borders, particularly in the Himalayas.
This is being done in the extreme weather conditions. So whatever the Chinese activities are taking place, they are taking place behind this. If I ask my Vijay Mubashir to show you the watch towers. We are reporting from Neoma Air Base, which will be completed in the next 3 months.
In the remote and breathtaking pockets of Ladakh, a crucial endeavour leads the growth of India's defence bandwidth. This is the story of the Border Roads Organization, an invisible hero in the realm of infrastructure development. The BRO stands at the forefront of an ambitious mission to forge vital infrastructure in one of the world's most challenging terrains, near the line of actual control. Described as an emerging strategic asset to the IAF, let's take you to the Neoma Air Base. This airbase will enable quicker deployment of troops and equipment and impart close support to the Air Force's frontliners.
Neoma Air Base, located in eastern Ladakh, is of immense strategic importance because of its close proximity to the line of actual control with China. Neoma Air Base, which will be completed in the next 3 months, and as of now we see that the tarmac of around 1 kilometers have been completed. This is a machine that has been helping the BRO in its work. This machine works some 4 hours in a day, and the 250 laborers that are working works around, they get the rest of around 8 hours. So the work is done in 3 shifts, and 250 laborers have been involved who had come from different parts of the country. This is coming a very bigger boost to the India's military and also to its air force. It is more like a shot in its arm when India is sharing its borders with neighbors like China.
A long pending project, the Neoma Air Base is expected to be operational by November.
I'm joined by Executive Engineer Manoj Kumar, who comes from BRO. Tell us about the challenges when it comes to Neoma Air Base.
First of all, I welcome you to Neoma ALG Mud. The biggest challenge over here is the topography of this place. The transport of man, material and machinery from plane. This is one of the biggest challenge because of the topography and the altitude of this place.
How do you see that this airbase will enhance the Air Force capability?
As you are aware, in Ladakh region there are two runways at present. One is in Leh and second one is in Nubra Valley. That is twice, and this will be the third. And this is the highest runway among all the three, and this is also highest in India, if you aware about it. So this will during the winter this will increase the mobilization of the Air Force, including inducting the manpower and the ration and ammunition for the Army and Air Force.
Located close to the LAC, Tagyar Malay is the ultimate vantage point. The Army's observations posts play a critical role.
Right now we are on CDFD road, one of the hot zones, because this road again was constructed by BRO, Border Road Organization, and it's been completed some 92 kilometers that have been completed in the 2 working seasons. And as per the information that has come in, that here the working season is of 4 months each. So in 2 working seasons the BRO has completed this complete road, and it will be inaugurated by November. That is what we are picking. It's a blacktopping has been done, and this road is close to the line of actual control with China. Here you see the Indus River running, and then you have also can be seen the Chinese watchtowers, their construction, the retaining wall. So this is one of the important areas for the government of India, and BRO has come up with the infrastructural development that tells you about the determination of the country to strengthen its border infrastructure. So everything is being done to help the forces to mobilize their movements and also to give quick access to the forward posts. So this is being done in the extreme weather conditions, because here the temperature drops in -20, 30. So they try to finish the work as soon as possible. I'm joined by Colonel Doming. Since you are taking care of this entire task, and it's seen as a women empowerment and working in such extreme conditions, tell us about the CDFD road that the BRO is coming up with.
Like rightly, you have said rightly, it's almost out of 128 kilometer, we have completed the 98 kilometer of formation here. The blacktopping is going on, you can see it on the ground. And the importance, if you talk about the importance of this road starts from Chushul sector, and it will be ending at the Demchok sector. You are very well aware, Chushul and Demchok sectors are very important sectors in terms of armed forces and the defense of the country. And this year, this is 2024, till now we have laid the foundation stone of 745 CR of projects. And if you say about the inauguration of the project, by this year end, we are planning to do the inauguration of around work costing 2,245 CR of works. So you can say the quantum of the work that is going on in the Eastern Ladakh is tremendous. Excellent work is going on here.
An infra telescope that helps our Jawans keep a close eye on our Chinese foes.
We are at Tagyar Malay, and from my left, if I ask my Vijay Mubashir to show you the watch towers, the observatories from which the Indian Army along with ITBP is keeping an eye on Chinese activities, that are from my right side. You see they are right now at the line of actual control, where you see the Indus is flowing along the line of actual control. From the other end you see the China. So whatever the Chinese activities are taking place, they are taking place behind this. One can see a small tower on it, a watchtower, and then behind that watchtower there is a proper Chinese camp from where the China is keeping an eye, and from here the India is keeping an eye on the Chinese activity.
An out-of-bounds zone for civilian traffic, Pangong So North is the force's go-to space for drills.
how the things are taking place here?
Yeah, this is the road named Lukung Chatse, and we have started constructing in 2 months back, and till now we have completed 18 kilometers of total 38 kilometers stretch, and this is an important road for the defense, and the department BRO is supporting us very well, and we are trying to complete this project before a year of the completion date.
So what
So
is
this-
the exact time period that you get to do this?
We have to complete this project by the end of November 2026, but we are making it sure that we complete it by the end of November 2025, 1 year ahead.
What is the what percentage of labor force is here and the machines that you have brought?
We have engaged almost 15 excavators here, and we are doing 24/7 work.
India's infrastructure projects around this very lake includes the construction of new roads, bridges that highlights the lake's critical role in broader strategic landscape of Ladakh. We see the efforts that are coming from India to secure its borders, because the point we are standing, you remember in 2017 the borders escalations took place between India and China in that very year, and since then we have been seeing that the infrastructure was upgraded even after when the Galwan incident happened. And where we are standing, this is northern part of this Pangongsa lake, and this is a restricted area. It's meant only for the troop mobilization, for the troop mobility. When you see the other edge of the road, that is the southern part of this lake, where you see the civilian movement, you see the tourism development. But apart from the tourism development, we see the road is not only being maintained, the upgradation is going on, then a lot of infrastructural development is also taking place that is strengthening the Indian borders.
Let's shift focus to the Umling La Pass, a roadway known as the Biker's Paradise.
Umlinga at an astonishing 19,024 feet. This is one of the highest motorable pass in the world, just in Ladakh. Built by BRO, this connects Chusmal and Damchok just near Indochina border. And as my video is showing you the view of the Umlingla. Yes, this is comes under Project Himank, and this engineering marvel isn't just a road, it is a strategic lifeline, improving access to some of the India's most remote and sensitive areas. The construction faced extreme challenges from icy winds to oxygen thin air, but it highlights India's determination to strengthen its border infrastructure.
A BRO initiative that provides not only a much needed rest stop, but the heroic Umling La Healers, a team at your service for first aid.
Right now I'm joined by Dr. George. George, talk about yourself and talk about the facilities that the BRO has created here.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Captain Subit George. So I am a medical officer in 93 RCC Hanle. So we have set up a couple of facilities here in Umlingla, which includes a gazebo, as well as which you have seen an MI room, and as well as oxygen cafe. Now this MI room provides medical facility for those tourists who are in need. Just like you were saying, there was an accident here, and you may have seen people coming with hypoxia, that is decreased saturation in their blood. So we give free oxygen as well as medical facility. There will be an NA here who will be staying throughout the day, who will be looking after this, and he'll be giving reports per day. Every day he'll be giving evening reports, and this is how we manage here in Umlingla, giving medical cover to the tourists as well as
we are showing you that what the border infrastructure is, apart from the roads that you see here, for the people who are coming here to take a beautiful view, because the more you come higher, the better view you get. So here in Omlingla, you have the cave called Himang that the BRO is providing a facility to the travelers. There you get the free tea and though the snacks and other things for which you need to pay. But overall, the cave here, the water facilities are there and also the tea is provided. Similarly, we see that one of the world's highest motorable road. Here the certificate has been given by the Guinness Book of World Records that BRO has displays, and as per them, as we talked about, this is the highest motorable pass. It is 14,024. That is exactly the height where you are standing. Though people who come here, they do face the oxygen issues, because the higher the altitudes you have, the more oxygen issues you face. And to deal with the oxygen, the BRO has set up the free oxygen. See, I'll show you the cave here. There you get the flavor of oxygen, the world's highest oxygen cave that has been set up by the BRO. Again, this cave, once the people come here and if they face any oxygen issues, they are provided oxygen free of cost. Not only the oxygen, but you get the flavor of your choice. This is the oxygen van that has been set up by the BRO, and most of the travelers who come here, they do face oxygen issues. And now I'll take you to another facility that the BRO has created at the world's highest, and that is the MI room, the medical facility that has been provided to the travelers by the BRO, because apart from the oxygen, one can see the beds that has been set up. You see the BP machines and other facilities that a person requires. Recently, I am being told that there was a accident just here, and the first aid and other things that were again managed by the BRO, because they have set up a medical team also here.
And here we have the Hanle Observatory, an interesting breakpoint within the rugged terrain for the seekers of cosmic mysteries.
Perched at 17,634 feet, we are at Hanle Observatory, the observatory which is second in number in the world and is a gem for the stargazers. One can see the observatory here, the telescope that my VJ Mubashir is showing you, and with crystal clear skies, it's a prime spot for unveiling the mysteries of the cosmos, housing India's powerful Himalayan Chandra telescope. This remote observatory puts India on the map in global space research, offering a window to the universe. Yes, this is an observatory which is more like doing the global space research, for which they have a team. They are connected directly with the team in Bangalore, the main station. And here, this is also known as Tara Mandal.
Another strategic feat developed by the BRO, the Hanle-Chumar Road, is the key to smooth connectivity in an otherwise unforgiving rugged land.
Right now we are reporting from Hanle-Chumar Road. Hanle is known for its high altitude observatory, and when it comes to Chumar, we all know that it's a border place, the border area that shares the proximity with to the line of actual control with China. this road, this has been now completely macadamized, blacktopped, some 96 kilometers. One can see this stretch that is coming up, and expected is that the BRO will open formally this road and the work will be completed by November.
Our Jawans have been banking on this roadway for supplies and strategic depth alike.
Tell us about this strategically important road that the BRO is constructing. How important is this road and how easy it is going to provide to the forces on ground?
First of all, this road is of a stretch of kilometer 96, and it is connecting the important town of Hanle and Chumar. Hanle is located about 15,300 feet above main sea level, and Chumar is again 15,300 feet above main sea level. Along with it is passing from Salsala Pass, which is approx 17,000 feet. Regarding the connectivity, earlier there is only one route exist for the connectivity to Chumar. Now this is an alternate route which will be provided extra mobility to the forces. Secondly, it is a main supply route for the forces which are deployed in the Chumar and in the forward area. Earlier it used to take around 5 to 6 hours for the travel time from Hanle to Chumar, but now it is hardly 2 hours for the connectivity. So the connectivity in this zonal area is boosted up, and it has immensely reduced the time for connecting the two places. And secondly, it is one of the most strategic area. The various operations, because China is quite closer to this area, so various operations, this route will come as a laterals for building up, for speedy building of forces.
Required to be maintained in solid conditions, the eastern Ladakh is a strict no-go zone for civilians, but one of the most celebrated army terrains.
I'm joined by somebody who takes care of Karu to Hot Springs, which is around 200 kilometers. Again, a very important area, a very sensitive area. We have seen how the troop mobilization in past have also taken place, and now BRO has chipped more infrastructure development in this very sensitive area. I'm joined by OC 51 RCC Prabhat Kumar. Sir, you are taking care of a very critical and a very sensitive area. So tell us about the development that has taken place as far as this area from Karu to Hot Spring is concerned.
Yeah, this road from Karu to Hot Spring is very strategically important road, and the road leads to the line of actual control. So it is our priority to keep this road open and in good condition, so that the mobility of the forces are enhanced, its effectiveness can be enhanced, and the reaction time is reduced in case of any incursion from our adversary side, keeping a balance between the strategic point of view and the socio-economic development of the road.
How sensitive is this very pass, or we say this area?
This area is very sensitive because this is the eastern part of Ladakh, and the road leads to the LAC, and we cannot afford to keep this road closed for a single day. Earlier this road was of single lane. Recently, during the last 3 to 4 years, we have been able to develop this road into double lane specification, and the balance 60% of this stage, balance 40% stage also in the pipeline for development into double lane. So the development is at fast pace, rapid pace in this area also.
The 40% which is yet to be completed, how long it will take to complete the entire stretch?
The entire stretch is planned for completion by 2028. So we will develop this road into double lane by 28.
November 1962, a date recalled as one of the most fierce battles in Indian military history. 120 soldiers laid down their lives. Republic takes you to the Rezangla War Memorial.
we are here in Chushul sector, and just behind me is Rizangla War Memorial. War memorial that has been constructed in memory of the soldiers who fought 1962 war between India and China. Rizangla is one such site where most heroic battle in the Indian military history. On November 8, 1962, during the Sino-India War, 120 soldiers of the 13th Kumaon Regiment, led by Major Shetan Singh, valiantly defended their post against a massive Chinese assault. Despite being heavily outnumbered, the Indian troops fought to the last man, inflicting significant casualties on the enemy. The Battle of Rizangla is remembered for its unparalleled bravery and sacrifice, becoming a symbol of Indian military valor. A memorial at this very site honors the courage of these very soldiers. Inside the memorial, one can see not only the pictures of the soldiers who fought in this war, but also the awards that were given to those soldiers. Some of them received the awards, some of them got the awards posthumously. And outside this very Rizangla memorial, one can see the post of Major Shetan Singh, that has been a model of that very post that he defended valiantly, has been created to show the kind of courage and the sacrifice these soldiers made. All this happened in the Chushul sector, which is again a hot zone because it shares again the proximity to the line of actual control with China. We are at Rizangla Gallery, and the gallery that displays the scenes of war, which my Vijay Mubashir is showing you. This is the battle. It was a battle in many ways, a unique one. Never before had major battles been fought at such altitude. On one side were men from the mountain of Sinking and those who have been operating for years in this frozen land. The battle that was fought in 1962, and it was pitted against the hires from Haryana, born and bred into the plains. In addition, they were equipped with outmounted 303 single action rifles of World War First vintage. The first attack, the attack on number 8 Pelton, then attack on number 7 Pelton, attack on the mortar sections. This displays the entire area, the Chinese attack on the Pelton on 9 and mortar section. This is a painting that displays about that very picture where it happened and how it all happened. Then it talks about the scenes of the 13th Command Regiment, who were the part of this very this battle, because this entire battle was led by Major Shetan Singh. Then you see this statue that has been put by the Indian Army on display. These are the Kumaon soldiers attacking a Chinese soldier with bayonet. Then again we are seeing the former Lieutenant General Y.K. Joshi, then Army Commander and the Northern Commander. He's seen with the Jubilees and the valiant soldiers who proved their mettle at Rizangla and Rinchen. Then again you see the statue that again has been put here. It's an Indian Army soldier with full battle gear in the 1962. Then you got War Gallery. This Rizangla here also displays the voluntary award winners, the pictures, their profile, and this is a man who actually made this win possible, and this is Major Shetan Singh Paramveer Chakra posthumously. Then you see it has this gallery has number of things that catch the attention of a visitor. You see Indian weapon, a 7.62 mm LMG, then that was used during this battle of Rizangla. Then Sten gun is here, and similarly we are seeing the artifacts that were recovered during the war of Rizangla.
And finally, this is the Tang Se BRO Cafe. a quiet corner that is food for the local economy.
Right now we are here at the BRO Cafe en route to Pangongsa. This Pangongsa Cafe is really in news for the last 2 months because it has opened up just in June, and we are seeing a huge rush of travelers, the bikers, to this very cafe. This is a very unique shop that not only provides the hearty meals, but it provides a site to adventure here at the en route to Pangongsa. Talking about this very cave that is run by the BRO. The cave not only provides the refreshment in the remote region, but also embodies the resilience and dedication of those who maintain India's challenging border roads. It's a must visit for anyone exploring the beauty of Ladakh. In addition to its stunning location, the cave is a symbol of India's commitment to developing infrastructure in remote border areas, enhancing connectivity. Whenever you are a road trip enthusiast or simply a lover of nature, a stop at the BRO Cave near Pangongsa is an experience that adds a memorable chapter to any Ladakh journey. One can see here the cave is nicely decorated with a lot of symbols that one can see, and the kind of environment it provides and the cost of the meals is not that very expensive. So the cave is getting more and more rush, though BRO is expanding more such cafes in coming time. But again, it is generating employment for the locals from the Tangse village. BRO Cafe en route to Pangongsa is in news because this cafe has just been inaugurated 2 months back. We are seeing a huge rush of travelers, the bikers coming to the cafe, and this has been constructed by BRO, who are strengthening the border infrastructure. I'm joined by Captain Sahil to know more about the cafe. Thank you so much, Captain Sahil. Tell us about the cafe, kind of response that you are getting.
Ma'am, initially this cafe was made since there's no wayside amenities between Durbuk towards Pangongsa. This wayside amenity acts to rest and refresh for the tourist as well as for the military personals when they're en route towards Pangongsa.
Okay. So what kind of response are you getting, because it has just opened for the public?
Ma'am, we are getting a good response right now. People who are traveling from Nubra towards Pangongsa, they stop by here to rest and refresh, have food, and the prices are very economical as per subsidy rates also.
So how many people does this cafe serve per day?
Ma'am, this serves per day around 1,000 people, ma'am. Okay. So we are trying to improve the cafe day by day, and probably by next year also we are trying to improve the infrastructure as well.
What kind of infrastructure will be infused in the coming days?
Ma'am, infrastructure like more tables and chairs, and there'll be installation of TVs and other infrastructure which will pave the way for tourists to come to the cafe more and more, ma'am.
Every project stands as more than just a feat of marvelous engineering. In regions where temperatures plummet and altitudes soar, the BRO's commitment is unwavering. Republic stands in solidarity with the BRO warriors, for our common motto echoes loud: nation first, no compromise.